Hi guys, so it's July, and like I've been saying for a while, I am making a series of videos this month about oceanography, and I'm really excited about it. I grew up with Shark Week, and it wasn't great. It contributed to to a culture that fearmongers a lot about sharks, and they're really not that harmful, but in recent years, they've been making up for all the harm that they've did in a minor way. But more important than that, Shark Week got me into oceanography, and because my parents didn't really want me watching Planet Earth when I was a little kid, when that was like coming out. Oh God, I'm going to lose my shit when David Attenborough dies. But I really like oceanography, and Shark Week helped contribute to me loving it. So I'm going to be making videos this month about oceanography. Some will be more interesting, some will be not, but it's a lot of learning, and I really love that. So let's learn. So something that's not like as much a part of like total education is that I think that a curiosity of the oceans is actually pretty natural to humans. I'm not really special for thinking that the oceans are cool. It's a major figure in a lot of mythologies, and there's a lot of reason for that, especially now that we know a lot more about it. I mean, it covers 2/3 of the earth, but we can't drink any of it. It's so huge, but most of the life is near beaches. We keep finding these new ecosystems that are based around like whale corpses and hydrothermic vents. I think it's just amazing. And every year you sometimes see these people haul in fish that we thought were dead for thousands, if not millions of years. And beyond that, and the fact that we have explored more of space than our ocean on our planet, as life started in the ocean, bunch of protein strands got lucky, made RNA, turned into DNA grew a lipid bubble absorbed another bacteria, made eukaryotic cells started making multicellular organisms. Here we are, 2 billion years later. It's so interesting, and I think that's one of the reasons that we all really want to learn about it. So, the first thing we're going to learn about is not terribly interesting. It's about just how everything works. I mean, not everything, obviously. That's a lot more than I can explain, and I've taken one oceanography class, and I had to go through this for geography and environmental studies. I am not that educated about it. I don't have a doctorate in oceanography. But, just like a crash course of how circulation works. So, the ocean obviously doesn't stay still. I mean, you have earthquakes, you have wind, you have a lot of other stuff, but the most influential part is high and low pressure systems. There are low pressure systems near the equator called the Hadley cells, and then there are high pressure polar cells on top of or on higher latitudes. So what happens is these create currents. What I'm most familiar with is the Gulf Stream, which comes up from the Caribbean and comes up through the east coast of the U.S., and there are a lot of others. And these currents, these gyres, are incredibly important because there's a lot of nutrient-rich water in the higher latitudes because there's not as much stuff living there. So this higher nutrient water comes down to the lower latitudes, which is great for the resources, and then, warmer water comes up to the higher latitudes, which makes it better on the ecosystem there. And one of the things about it is that these gyres, they can circle like closer and closer and closer into the center of this gyre. And this is where this program gets political. There's Trash Island, you might have heard of out in the Pacific. It's where everything in the Pacific eventually ends up because it gets caught in the middle and it can't rotate anymore. And I know that leftists have a thing about taking personal action in your lifestyle, but a third of the world's fisheries have collapsed, and the stuff that's in these trash islands, it's not straws or 6-pack rings. It's fishing equipment that's been abandoned. It's military equipment that's been abandoned. And like I said, a third of the world's fisheries have collapsed, and half of those fisheries, whenever they collapse, they don't get replaced with more fish, they get replaced with squid, which doesn't have a very high consumer demand rate. And maybe it's my anti-fish bias, I don't like the taste of seafood, the texture isn't great, but I will link a study or a National Geographic article in the description about this, and it's how a lot of things get hurt. So that was my first video on Oceanography Month. Next week we're going to talk about hydrothermal vents, which I'm so excited about. Alright, I'll see you. Bye!